Hey guys, welcome to this video where I give you a tour of my no man's land map. So this is really just a work in progress update from what I've managed to do up until this point. So I'll be giving you a tour of the map, what's happened so far, and the plans moving forward. So first thing you'll notice is there are no trees and no rocks and a lot of fields. So basically when I first came across no man's land, I had the idea to turn it into a very large arable farm. So what that means is basically growing crops, harvesting grain, that type of thing. So let's go for a quick drive around. And we'll jump in the trusty pickup. So I'm about 60 hours into this gameplay so far. I don't have any unlimited money mods on, or cheats if you will, but I do have some income generators, solar farm and a couple of windmills that I've been using, and I have been using a fair few mods to sort of help farm this huge area. So if we drive sort of left from the farm shop and come out this way, actually what we should probably do is have the map just to give you some sort of idea of the scale of the operation so far. So essentially what I started with was this area here on the right side, and I ploughed it by hand over a couple of hours using at the time it would have been one of the lizard plough mods, so field creator mods. It only did 9 meters at a time, so it did take quite a while. Then I had quite a substantial break from playing this map, and then subsequently the larger cultivators with the field creator mod was released, and also the ploughed state for no man's land map. So that's where you see this field here was basically bought and paid for with the plough state texture. So continuing on, if we drive around a little bit further, you can sort of see I've just finished a harvest of soybeans on this field, and I've put a bit of a dirt road in, which is what we're on now. So I guess the appeal of no man's land for me initially was when I first saw it was, like I said, turning it into a big open field, large. So this gives you a bit of view. You can sort of see from one end to the other almost. And when I play the smaller maps, so the Elm Creek, that type of thing, I always sort of like to go big, joining fields and making it as sort of large as possible. But the problem with the large equipment on the smaller maps is they get stuck. The workers always run into things, so it's a bit of a pain. Whereas somewhere here, there's literally nowhere for them to run into except for each other, which happens reasonably often. So we'll just cruise around to the main farm. So obviously the plan is here I'm going to plough out to the left on this side and turn this into another big field, and then up around the back to join up, sort of terraform it, flatten it all out, make it you know, farmable. So the reason why I was drawn to this map was because of the natural I guess the hills and the shape of it, rather than using flat map or one of the flatter plain maps. This map's got a bit of character, like it's got the big rolling hills at the back there, so I wanted to retain all that and just sort of build out the farm land around the central farm. So this is the central farm slash soon to be town area. So currently it's just holding a few bits of machinery. I've got my silos over here. So these are going to go in a later episode. I'm going to replace them with one bigger unit. Moving forward, got a sell point, 2 sell points here just to sort of make some money. Got my grain mill. Had a series of bakeries along here to make bread. And then I've got the central warehouse mod to store everything. So bread and flour basically. And then I've got the industrial bakery over here. So as you can see, it's sort of just all plonked on the map. I've obviously flattened it out and painted it just to give me some idea of where I'm going to put things. But just for a bit of perspective here, you can see this is the lake in the middle of the map, so you can sort of get your bearings as to where we are on the original No Man's Lap, map. Sorry. So this lake is essentially untouched except for a little bit of dodgy terraforming, which I'll fix up at a later time. But this sort of gives you the scope and scale of how big the map is. So this field extends over to the base of those mountains over there, and then we've got some equipment. So I'm using the Colossus harvesters with the 47 kilometer per hour headers. So these things harvest about 4 times the speed of the conventional harvesters, which is definitely needed on these size fields, because doing it with the base game equipment takes quite a long time. These seeders that I'm using, I believe they're base game, or they might be mods, but they travel. So this is one over here. So they travel, they do 22 meters roughly per pass, and they travel at normal speed. So I've got 6 of them, so I can have 6 workers planting these fields at any one time. And then that's just how I've been able to generate the money we've got at the moment. So I've also got a little wind farm, solar farm up here, which gives me a bit of sort of passive income. Obviously I had to pay for these out of harvest profits, but every time I go to sleep and the game cycles through a day, this will pay me up to about $500,000. So anywhere from about 120,000 to $500,000, depending on what time of year it is, whether it's winter, summer, that type of thing. So I do find that these are quite expensive to put in. However, I think the investment I put into buying these, they may be paid off. I don't know, but what they say they generate in terms of return, you don't always get every day. So it's subject to like the weather and time of year. So just something to consider. So I think I'm going to probably move this wind farm and solar farm to make way for a field extension over here at some stage. So the plan is to sort of build farmland all the way up to the base of these mountains. I don't want to farm up the hill, but I kind of want to have rolling hills of crops and wheat and stuff like that. So I've terraformed quite a bit, so if we just drive up to the top here, we'll get a better view. So you can sort of see it a little bit better. So give you a bit more of a size and scale. So obviously we've got the main farmland over here to the left. Over to the right we've got the central farm where the lake is. Then we've got another main field to the left of the shop, and then this sort of blank area here which will be filled in sort of as we go through the build. Alright, what else can we show you? So like I said, about 60-70 hours in. A lot of this was ploughed by hand. Took quite a while. The field creator mods definitely sped things up. And also the harvesting with the Colossus. So if you're not sure what the Colossus is, we'll have a look in the garage. Oh, hang on, where are we? So this is Colossus. So this is a mod from Giants, I believe. I could be wrong on that, but it is in the mod hub. And they've got the unrealistic. I don't want to sell that. Actually, I'll just go to the shop. That'll be easier. So all the way to the end here. So it's got the unreal or the unrealistic capacity, which is 153,000 litres. So as you can imagine, harvesting fields of this size, we get quite a lot of crop. So if we go over to our silos, we'll have a quick look at how much we've got on hand at the moment. So you can see I've tried to retain as much of the natural hills as possible. Like there's quite hilly through here. So I've paid for all the terraforming. Whoa, there we go. So I've paid to have all the terraforming and landscaping. So it looks like I've got 10 million currently, but just to give you an example, it cost about 4 million using the Cloud State tool to do basically half of this field. So that cost 4 million to paint it with the plow texture. So we've got a couple of million of crop here. So this one holds about 5 million. And this one here I've just been adding silos to because they've been filling up. So a couple million there as well. So just to give you some sort of idea of how much crop we're getting out of these fields. And I've got precision farming turned on. However, I'm not really getting maximum yield as well, because basically the land is too big and it doesn't really show individually what's happening in terms of environmental. Like it just treats it as one big field. So just if you're interested, you can see the pH maps and soil maps there. We've got nitrogen, so that's from our last harvest. So I think I had soybeans over here, wheat over here, and oats over here. So pretty standard sort of stuff. So yeah, that's my no man's land map so far. Moving forward, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to clear this entire area of buildings. So we're going to get rid of the silo, the sell points. We're going to get rid of all the building structures, everything. Sell everything. Our TK station over there, the grain mill, and I'm going to really make sure this is all flattened and level. And we're going to build out a bit of a town area / farm area, so it's all central. And I'm also going to change up some of these roads. So currently I've got the main road, which I put in to get me to and from the shop, and I've got this road here which goes sort of to the other main, just so it's a little bit more realistic, that rather than driving across the field when the crops are growing, because I've got crop destruction turned off. So to save time I cut through. However, I may change that in the future. Also, I'm looking at probably going to turn seasons on and play with seasons on, just to give it a bit more realism. Have a few more big harvests underway. You can see I've just finished up the harvest from yesterday's session. So I've got my road train, a couple of Colossus harvesters. So we'll jump in the road train actually and see how much crop we've got. This is just one load of about probably 3 or 4 that came out of this field. Yeah, so we've got 360,000 litres of wheat sitting there ready to go for sale. So sort of a big scale operation, and because I play solo pretty much all the time, anything I can do to sort of improve efficiency and productivity, especially on a map this size. Like, I don't actually know how big the fields are. I'm sure I can work it out based on the plot size, because I own all the fields, so I've gone to the trouble of buying them all except for the ones at the back, because I don't intend to ever build anything behind, so we'll just leave them as is. However, for the rest, it just makes life easier sort of planning out the rest of the build. So yeah, that's basically it. So I hope you guys enjoy and follow along the journey. So eventually this will all be farmland. the centre town area here will evolve over time, and we'll sort of see what happens. So I'm interested to see what you guys think. Obviously, any ideas for what I should do or what I shouldn't do. Happy to take that input on board. I'm just trying to think if there's anything else that's worth noting. Oh yeah, let's just have a quick look at what equipment I'm running. So we touched on it briefly before. So I've got a few, mostly John Deere RX tractors. So these are the one of the most powerful tractors in the game. I picked up the New Holland T9 700 used. Same with this one. Same with the John Deere 8R410. Like I said before, 6 harvesters for 6 workers. I've got the John Deere air cart and seeder. So this is the one that goes 23 meters. A couple of rollers, fertilizer spreaders. These are mods that will do lime and fertilizer. So they got a 42 meter spread width, which is great for covering a large area in a quick time. A couple of auger wagons. So I used to use those quite a lot, but now I've converted more to the road train. So these are leased items. So that's my road train trailers there. So that's the Lizard underbelly with the unrealistic storage mods, so 120,000 litres each. Lizard Roadrunner, so that's 1800 horsepower, which is definitely needed to pull those big loads. And then a couple of big bud tractors. So let's have a look. Cool, a couple of harvesters here. Yep. Big bud. So that's the triple wheel. So he's got 45 k's an hour top speed. And I use the JCB fast track, which is this one here, just to sort of go and if I need to pick up machinery from the shop quickly, going back and forth. If I have to move trailers or anything, I'll jump into this one because it makes the transit time across the map a lot quicker. So as you can see, oh, and that's the farmhouse. So that's obviously going to move. The plan is to delete that and rebuild it basically over. If we get back over to the lake, so I'm going to probably plan out a bit of a farm home build area somewhere around the lake. Probably thinking across the other side there. So it's got like a bit of a waterfront view, and I'll decorate it nicely with, you know, trees and plants and all that sort of stuff. Give it a bit more of a genuine look rather than what I've kind of done here, which is just flatten everything. And I've painted it with the gravel texture just so I sort of can see where everything's flat. So obviously around here it's a little bit hilly, so I might have to do something about that. Yeah, so thanks for watching, guys. Stay tuned for the next episode. Hope you enjoy the series, and bye for now.